I got arrested in my own kitchen before I'd even unpacked the coffee maker, handcuffed to my sink while my neighbor live streamed it to 47,000 people like it was a damn cooking show. And right when I thought things couldn't get more ridiculous, footsteps came from beneath my house. Slow, confident footsteps, and a mayor I'd only ever seen on billboards walked up out of a hidden basement in a bathrobe that definitely wasn't mine. That was the moment I realized I hadn't bought a lake house. I'd bought a story I was never going to escape. 6 hours earlier, my biggest concern was where to put the couch. I just pulled into the driveway of this angular glass lake house I'd snagged at a federal auction, one of those too good to be true deals that screams red flags but whispers opportunity. I'd spent my career in military intelligence, so I was used to weird paperwork, classified nonsense, sealed files. Still, a $3 million property for $180,000. Even I knew that kind of deal comes with ghosts. I just didn't expect one of them to be alive and running the HOA. She appeared out of nowhere like a villain who'd been waiting for her cue. Marisol Wentworth, white blazer captain's hat, that tight smile people wear when they're convinced they're the smartest person in every room. She didn't walk up to me. She advanced phone already up, narrating like she was hosting a nature documentary. Unauthorized occupation in progress, she told her live stream. Waterfront family, we have a situation. I remember thinking this has got to be a misunderstanding. I showed her the deed, the auction docs, all of it. She laughed. Not amused laughter. That sharp, mean kind that makes you feel like you're already losing. You're trespassing, she said. This property belongs to Sky Lounge. Sky Lounge meant nothing to me then. It should have. That name would end up detonating everything. By the time the police arrived, half the neighborhood was outside pretending to water plants while filming us. Marisol was narrating every breath I took, calling me armed because I was holding a coffee mug. I kept thinking, just stay calm, Bryce. Paperwork wins. Facts win. That's the lie you tell yourself when you still believe the world runs on logic. Officer Reynolds was mid-sentence asking for my ID when we all heard it. Footsteps from inside the house. Not pipes, not settling wood. Human footsteps coming up from somewhere below the floor. Then a section of wall I didn't know existed swung open, and up came Mayor Theodore Blackstone in a faded bathrobe holding a mug that said "World's Best Witness," like he'd wandered into the wrong sitcom. He looked at Marisol, then at the cops, then at me, still cuffed to my sink, and said dead serious, "Why is the HOA president screaming in my safe house?" Everything stopped. Even the live stream comments went quiet for half a second, like the internet itself blinked. Turns out, my house wasn't just a house, it was a federal safe house. Had been for years. Witness protection, hidden rooms, cameras, reinforced walls, the whole spy movie starter kit. And Marisol, she wasn't confused. She was exposed. That's when the twist hit like a truck. Because right behind the mayor came a woman in a sharp suit, calm, composed, terrifyingly focused. Federal prosecutor Angela Hartwell, the same woman who'd taken down one of the biggest organized crime rings in the state. And apparently, she'd been living in my basement. Marisol recognized her instantly. You could see it on her face, that exact moment when arrogance turns into fear. The live stream caught every pixel. Angela didn't yell, didn't posture. She just said it quietly, like someone stating the weather. Your husband's been under investigation for 18 months. Judge Wentworth, Marisol's husband. Respected, untouchable, powerful. And dirty. The basement safe house wasn't the whole story. There was another hidden level, behind another door. And when the feds opened it, we found a fully built illegal casino. Roulette tables, counting machines, chips stacked like candy, a tunnel leading to the marina, right under my kitchen. I remember standing there, wrists still sore from the cuffs, thinking, you ever have a moment where reality just slips? Like the ground didn't crack, but you realize it was hollow the whole time. That was it. Turns out the Wentworths had been using the federal safe house as cover, running high-stakes, gambling, laundering money, using HOA fines as a side hustle to shake down the neighborhood. And Marisol, queen of petty violations and fake smiles, had just live-streamed herself walking straight into a federal racketeering case. Nobody forced her. Nobody tricked her. She walked in, hit go live, and handed the FBI a gift-wrapped confession. Karma doesn't always knock politely. Sometimes it shows up with Wi-Fi. When the FBI agent finally uncuffed me, he said something I still think about. You weren't the target, you were the catalyst. They'd known something was wrong but couldn't prove it. My legitimate purchase forced everyone into the open, like turning on the lights and watching roaches scatter. Marisol asked for a lawyer. Her voice was barely a whisper by then. That same woman who'd tried to have me arrested for drinking coffee on my own driveway now looked like she was shrinking in real time. And the live stream was still rolling. 47,000 witnesses, no editing, no spin, just raw consequences. The aftermath was chaos, FBI vans, news crews, neighbors turning the street into a lawn chair festival. But somewhere in that mess, something weird happened. People started smiling. You could feel it, this neighborhood exhaling after years of holding its breath. Neighbors told stories, quiet ones, the kind people carry like bruises, fines for nothing, threats, harassment. Marisol had ruled through fear, and suddenly she was gone. It's funny how fast a tyrant becomes small once the spotlight changes. By sunset, I was sitting on the deck with a beer, staring at the lake, trying to process the day. I'd woken up expecting cardboard boxes and unpacking tape. Now I owned a federal safe house, an illegal casino basement, and apparently front row seats to the biggest corruption case in the county. Angela came out and sat beside me. No suit this time, just jeans and exhaustion. "I'm sorry," she said. "You didn't ask for any of this. Maybe I should have been angry. Maybe I should have run." But instead I laughed. That tired, hollow laugh you do when life gets too absurd to argue with. "I bought a house," I told her. Apparently it came with a plot twist. Here's the part nobody talks about when they tell stories like this. The lesson doesn't arrive like a thunderclap. It sneaks in later quiet when the adrenaline fades. What I realized that night was simple. Power isn't loud because it's right. It's loud because it's scared. People like Marisol build kingdoms out of fear and paperwork and intimidation, and most of the time, nobody pushes back not because they agree, but because they're tired. And all it takes to crack that illusion is one person who didn't get the memo. I wasn't brave, I wasn't heroic, I was just a guy trying to move into his house. But sometimes that's enough. The trials dragged on for months. Sentences came down, Marisol got decades, her husband got life, the casino vanished, the HOA dissolved like smoke, and the neighborhood slowly became a neighborhood again. Kids riding bikes, block parties, people laughing without looking over their shoulders. And me, I stayed, fixed the place up, turned the basement into something less cinematic. Married Angela 2 years later in the backyard where Marisol once stood screaming into her phone. Sometimes I stand in the kitchen and look at that sink, the same one I was cuffed to, and I can't help smiling. Not because it was funny, but because it reminds me how fast life can flip the script. 1 minute you're the villain in someone else's live stream. Next minute you're the reason their empire collapses. And yeah, I still check every hidden door before opening it. Old habits. But here's the question I keep coming back to, the one I'll leave you with. If you found yourself in that moment, accused, humiliated, outnumbered, and you knew standing your ground might blow everything up, would you still do it? Or would you just walk away and let people like that keep winning? I'm genuinely curious. Drop your thoughts below. Tell me where you draw the line between peace and principle, and whether you've ever had a moment where karma showed up louder than anyone expected.